Hello, fellow streakers.
Hello, fellow streakers indeed.
Welcome to today's podcast.
Nicely done, Jamie.
Thank you. And happy almost Thanksgiving.
I can't even believe that Thanksgiving is around the corner.
I know. Okay, so that is a little bit part of that has been an adjustment for me living in Georgia versus Colorado, where winter starts to kind of creep in October.
Yeah.
So you get this feeling that you're getting closer to the holidays because it gets colder. Georgia finally got cold today. I think it was like 35 when we woke up this morning. But up until then, I'm like, short sleeves. I'm still struggling to believe that we are right around the corner from Thanksgiving. It's not cold enough yet.
I know. It is not either.
But that's
not only is it not cold enough, but there's no snow on the ground.
Nope.
And there won't be. However, one of the things with Georgia is it does snow leaves.
Yes, they rain down.
They really
literally.
do. I mean, it is literally raining
beautiful.
down of leaves. It's so absolutely gorgeous.
Small gust of wind, and they'll just be tons
There
of
have
leaves
been times where I've
floating
been looking out our back window and that gust of wind comes through and it is truly a rainstorm of leaves.
Yep. In fact, when we first moved here, because I was accustomed to snow, I would look out this time of year and think, it's not snowing. Those are leaves. Because there were so many of them.
Absolutely. Well, the last time we left off, we were talking a little bit about a record.
We did.
Weren't we? Or memory?
We
I
were
think it was
talking
memory
about,
or a record. One of the two.
A record. And I wanted you to share a story. This is one of my favorites because we had talked about it was Veterans Day.
Uh-huh.
And you shared a story that I loved.
Yep.
And there was another one, though, that I wanted you to share that has to do with kind of keeping a record. It was when we visited Mount Rushmore.
Yeah. Because as I thought, and this was actually a pretty profound story that happened in my life, because to this point in time, I really hadn't appreciated studying history.
Right.
And I thought history was not something that I didn't have a desire for it. It hadn't become something that I'd really be interested in. What were you going to say?
Well, just that there wasn't an application yet. History in school was just memorize the dates, take the test. I don't feel like you had found any.
Before I tell you the story that
application.
I'm going to tell you, can I tell you a funny story? So I'm in, let's see here. I think it was middle school history class. And our middle school history teacher, I forget his name, but he looked like Papa Smurf. And he was short like Papa Smurf. I mean, he was a tiny man, and he had a very white beard. Yes. And if anyone knows if you don't know what Papa Smurf is or who Papa Smurf is, just Google it, Papa Smurf, and you will see Papa Smurf. And this was him. He just wasn't blue.
Okay.
And so,
which is good.
Very funny. So the other thing with him is he was as dull. He was as dry as a bucket of hair.
That's really dry.
Oh my goodness. So usually I would fall asleep in his class, and most other people would as well. One of my best friends, his name was Jeff.
Jeff and Jeff,
yep. One of my best friends was in that history class with me, but no one said anything. And he had this voice, our history teacher, not Jeff, but the history teacher had this voice, Papa Smurf, that would put you to sleep. I remember one day it was just so mellow and it was warm. So it was not, and you know how
conducive to a lovely nap.
And we're all just listening to him drone on about history and something in that. And he wanted to show us something on a map. Well, what he had was a great big globe. And the globe, when I say great big, it was like 36 inches. So a 3-foot globe. So like a really big one.
Right.
And he wanted to show it to us. And so he walked over to this globe and he picked it up, and it was like almost half his size. And he started to walk with it. And my friend started to sing. He's got the whole world in his hand. He's got the whole world in his hands.
And Jeff.
Everyone started, the whole class, but he started to laugh.
Oh, how fun.
He started laughing could not stop.
Like he genuinely appreciated the creativity of this teenage boy.
Yes.
Engaging in his history class. Finally.
Yes.
He had to take the whole world in his hands.
You know what? It kind of takes us to where we really wanted to go. I know we want to tell the Mount Rushmore story, but we really want to talk about humor.
We do. That was funny. We should have segued that a little bit better.
We should have segued that a little bit better, but we didn't. It was just a full on, because I didn't remember until you talked about history.
And I've never heard that story. We've been married for 30 years and I've never heard that story.
Oh, it was
But I can totally
awesome
see him
yes.
just laughing. I've had those moments where as a teacher, or as a mom, you're trying to get the people to listen and you're like, they're just not listening. And then somebody says something that is so witty that you can't help but just to appreciate, okay, they're engaged. They're
Yes.
at least engaged. I got something out of them.
I got something.
I love that. And he started laughing. I'm going to have this picture of this little man with his white beard and this giant globe.
Giant globe. And he's
The
got
whole
the whole
world. That's going to
in
make that
his
ride
hand.
at Disneyland better.
Oh, no. You just put that song in everyone's head. They will now never listen to this again. Don't sing it. Don't sing it. It's not a small world. It's not a small world. Now everyone,
Now no,
wicked torture. That's awful.
don't go there. So we wanted to talk a little bit today about humor. Well, I've been thinking, because it's Thanksgiving, and I've just been trying to think about things that I'm grateful for.
Uh-huh.
And one of the things that I've been grateful for has been humor. Part of that is because I would like to have more of it in my life. I think sometimes I wish I could laugh at myself a little bit more or a little bit sooner.
I think with
That's
7
it.
children, you've had a lot of humor in your life.
So that was part of the things I was thinking back to different times. And I thought, okay,
Oh, can I tell one?
which one are you going to tell?
When you were in labor with child number, hold on, I have to think, with Natalia. I think it was with Natalia. And one of the things that you love is epidurals.
I do love epidurals. I admire those women that can do it without, but I am not one of them. I learned that's okay. My biggest experience giving childbirth is I learned that I have a very low tolerance for pain. Didn't know that beforehand. Had that first child and thought, yeah, I have like 0 tolerance for pain. Bring on the medication. Somebody.
Oh, I remember
help me
when
get
you
through
were
this.
when you were in labor with Megan and the first real contraction came on. I mean, the one that really
That's
just gave you
because
a gut punch.
I'd had this coach. I was going to do it natural. I was going to do no medication. And I'd had this coach tell me, you can do this. And when it gets really hard and you feel like you can't do it, you're in transition and you've just got a little bit further to go. I was like, okay. So we go to the hospital.
Well, so we're kicking along, and I'm timing your contractions, and we're kind of having fun.
We're having fun because it's
We're
always
like,
fun at the
look,
beginning.
This is great, right? And so we're like, okay, they're getting closer together.
So we head to the hospital, and by the time we get to the hospital, because it was an hour away, we were living with my parents. I don't know if you remember, and we had to drive down an hour to get to the hospital.
I remember.
By the time we get there, the contractions had intensified, and I was in some serious pain. And we walk into the hospital, and they find us a room, and they do the exam, and I'm thinking, this is it. We're just a few minutes away because I'm dying here. And the nurse looks at me, and she goes, oh, honey, you're a 1. I had to get to a 10.
You had to dilate to a 10.
And she said,
and you were a
you're
1.
dilated to a 1. You've got lots of time. You should go walk around. And I thought, if I'm a 1 and I have to get to a 10 and that's transition, I'm going to die.
Dying. Oh, and I remember you offered the most sincere prayer I have ever heard you offer.
Please.
Please,
That
God,
was not the story.
help me
Yes.
to get through this. And we had but that was not the story I wanted to tell.
No,
it was
that
actually
was not
child
the
number
story.
3. And we were in a teaching hospital. And in the teaching hospital, what happens is, well, first of all, your as far as modesty is concerned or being any kind of private.
When you're having a baby, you reach a point where you're like, I don't care who's in here or who's not in here. You just go to a place. That's what it is. You go to a place and everyone else around is gone. It doesn't matter.
You're just focused on.
You are literally in the valley
the
of the shadow
child
of death.
out.
Yes. You're like, I can do this.
Get the child out.
Make this happen.
So we are at that point where you're getting the epidural.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for an epidural, if people haven't gone through this yet, it's quite an experience because it's a very long needle and they put it in the back between the epidural space, all right, or whatever that, and I'm probably saying it incorrectly.
I know. Someone out there
That's
is
all
like,
right.
you have no idea.
You have
what
no
you're
idea what
talking
you're
about.
talking about. However, I was observing one of the things that happens is you had to sit up on the side of the bed, and this happens with every epidural. You have to sit up on the side of the bed and kind of curl over, and if you're having a contraction, you have to breathe through it.
Yes.
You cannot move.
Which you've got this basketball thing, so you can't even just the whole curl over thing is monumental. You're like, okay, I can do this, but there's this big baby right here. And then the contractions, and then they say, don't move.
Don't move. You could become
We're
paralyzed.
sticking a huge needle in your back.
That's right.
So that will relieve the pain that you're in, but while you're in it, don't move.
So I'm watching, and one of the things they do is they put up the sterile shield. And there's a whole group of doctors that are around, and you're sitting there. I'm trying to be as supportive as possible, as you're
and
going through this whole thing.
And the sterile shield, is it just a piece of plastic?
It's just a piece of paper that they
and
put
then
in
does it
with
have
a
a
hole
circle
in the middle.
Okay.
Just a piece
So
of
it's a
paper with
piece
a
of
hole in the
paper.
middle.
Okay.
You're not even paying attention
No.
to it. I mean, you are fully focused on not
Don't
moving.
move.
Don't move.
Breathe.
This is the greatest moment, one of the greatest moments in our child birthing that I have to claim credit for, because
You get cold.
when they taped it on your back, I said, honey, you have nothing to worry about now. They just taped up the instructions. Everyone. Whole hospital room, full laughter. I got everyone.
Even the anesthesiologist.
Even the anesthesiologist.
Even me, who's not supposed to be moving. I'm like, okay, I'm laughing. Don't laugh. If you make me paralyzed because of your joke, there's going to be
It was a good one.
It was a great one.
Anyway, we were. I don't know where that came from, but I was just thinking about those things.
I don't know where it came
because
from.
of humor.
Because we're talking about gratitude and having gratitude for
yeah.
humor.
Which you were grateful for epidurals.
I was very grateful for
epidurals. And that was fantastic. Oh, man, completely.
And humor. So I was thinking about the different things, and I was thinking we used to have, and I wish that I had a streak back then. I wish. So anybody out there who's earlier in your childhood or earlier in your childbearing years, you have younger children still at home. That's what I want. Keep a journal of the funny things that they say. And you can set a streak around it where it's just, even if it's just once a week, write something in that journal about something funny that someone in the family said.
So the streak could be write at least one funny thing weekly
in your,
on some
call it a
funny
laugh
experience.
journal or a family, I don't know what could you, family smile journal.
Ooh,
something. I wished I had kept that. So we did this for a little while, and that's why I wish that I had kept it, because I think I kept it for I don't even know, maybe 3 or 4 weeks.
So let's pause on that and let's segue just a second, because I think it fits right in here, because one of the things that you're saying is you wished you would have kept it. And why do you wish you would have kept that record?
Because I would have this book of all the funny things that people in families say, that your kids say, or that these funny things that happen. And I would and I'd be able to look back at that and just laugh and have fun.
And I think one of the things that does is help you define who you are through time. It gives you these shared experiences. So that takes me to Mount Rushmore.
Okay.
Can I tell that story real quick? We're at Mount Rushmore, and we're there for a family reunion. And one of the things that they do at Mount Rushmore is the lighting of Mount Rushmore. So they keep it dark, and then as the sun goes down, the darkness comes, and the faces are all hidden. Well, a park ranger comes out and starts to give a little bit of a speech. And I'm thinking, so speaking of history, that my history teacher did not inspire me to have any kind of love
even
for
with
history.
having the whole world in his hand.
it
wasn't enough to inspire you to want to enjoy history.
And so
you were a tough teenager.
Oh man, I was absolutely.
It's dark.
Anyway, it's dark. The park ranger is talking and says this analogy, which all of a sudden changed all of history for me. She said, if we don't study our history, it's like a person that gets in a car accident and loses their memory. When they wake up, they have no idea who they are or the experiences that have shaped them. And not having any of those things will make it so that you will repeat some of the mistakes that you've made in the past and forget some of the successes that you've had in the past. And right there at that moment, all of a sudden I realized how significant history was for me. It is so that we don't have amnesia. We don't have amnesia of the things that have gone wrong.
Right,
so
the things we've learned.
And the things we've learned, and the things that have gone right, so that we can keep those in there. So that's why I wanted to segue into it, because that's what I believe your Smile Journal is all about. And the Laugh Journal is it brings about this when the dark times are there, when it's the hard times. I mean, right now, with everything that's happening with the world pandemic and all kinds of things going on, I think a little humor is okay. And being able to go back and look at that humor and see those stories
And you can laugh about them
That's
all
fun.
over again.
Yes.
I have one that I remember from my journal that I kept for it's like a page. That's it. That's all I got. You guys keep a laugh journal or a smile journal or whatever you want to call it, but write down those funny things that happen.
Okay, what is it? What's the one?
So it was when
Edge of my seat. I'm waiting.
It was the time when I had all the kids at home and they were home for a break and they were in the house. It must have been winter because they were playing hide and seek in the house. And so everyone was playing hide and seek in the house. And I had gone to the downstairs bathroom to go to the bathroom. And so I go into the bathroom, and as I'm going, I'm thinking
To use the facilities.
And as I'm using the facilities, I think I better tell these kids to not come in here because they'll think this is a great hiding spot.
Was the bathroom such that it was?
It was a
it
full
wasn't
bath.
just the toilet room.
No, it was a full
like
bath.
the full bath.
Had a bathtub, shower, toilet, sink.
So you had the toilet all in one room.
All in one room. Yeah.
Okay.
So, in my mind, I think I should, as a mom, I'm like, oh, they'll probably run in right when I'm going. So I need to tell them this is not a good place to hide. So I holler, hey, don't come in the bathroom. This isn't a good place to hide. And from the shower curtain in the bathtub right next to me, right next to the toilet, I hear this little voice say, why not? And I'm like, oh my gosh. I knew that someone would be in here.
They were already
in there. Why not?
Wow. Okay.
But I remember.
Did you finish up?
Just stay there. Don't come out. TMI for everybody. But I
love those.
That's a funny story, huh?
That is a great story.
And I thought that is. So I've been thinking about just having more of these moments where we can laugh. Especially, I have so much gratitude for being able to have humor in your life, in your family, and things that you can do to increase that humor. So that's what I was thinking about is just streaks. How could streaking help us to have more humor?
So I was doing a little bit of research on this, and I was studying the benefits of humor. And one of the benefits of humor is, according to a study in Michigan, I did a little streaking short on this as well, as far as it's Health Services of Michigan. It's University of Michigan Health Services. That's it.
Good job.
And they said that humor can help keep your heartbeat regular. And that's something that I think a lot about.
That's an interesting thing, that humor can keep your heartbeat regular.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And I think about that because in the history of our family, the heart has been the problem.
Right.
I mean, my dad just died this last summer of heart disease. And he'd struggled with that for years and years.
His father had passed away from it.
His father had passed away from it. So that's one of the things. So I need to laugh a lot more, hon.
You need to laugh
a lot
more to keep that heartbeat regular. That's fascinating to me, that laughter and humor would keep your heartbeat regular.
What else do you think? Just take a guess, just for fun. What else do you think they said humor helps with? If you were just to guess at it, what would you say it helps with?
Stress relief.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and immediately I think of some of the stressful situations that we've had in our family, and a lot of times I'll crack a joke.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, right in the middle of it. In fact, that's how I often deal with some of the more stressful things.
I know I had to remember that with your dad passing away. I'm like, this is how Jeff handles difficult situations. It's not irreverent or that he doesn't care. It's just he lightens the mode a little bit.
Well, because I would be right there with him and I was cracking jokes. But that's how Dad would do it.
Yep. Your dad was the same way. He would crack jokes.
Absolutely.
And have those people. And those people in our lives, though, things can get tense. And having that opportunity to kind of just break that tension a little bit and bring us back down a little.
Speaking of things getting tense, tell us about chance.
Okay, this was a time that I had
Number 7. This is pretty intense, right?
This is actually like a full week of things. The humor one came at the end. So
that's right.
So he was 3, I think. And it started with his basic 3-year-old things that he took. This would be tragic now because of COVID, but he took like 3 or 4 rolls of toilet paper and stuck them all in the toilet at the same time.
Because of COVID, this would be tragic right now.
Because you waste all that toilet paper.
All that toilet paper, it's gone.
But so that's kind of how the week started, is I'm like, okay, here you are. You stuck 4 rolls of toilet paper in the toilet. And he was rather proud of himself.
Oh, yeah.
At the time that this week happened, I was painting, and I was on at the time, black was in. So I was painting I can't remember if it was our baseboards
doors.
or
No, it
the
was all
doors.
the doors.
Okay. I was
No,
painting
you're
them
right.
black.
It was the baseboards in the upstairs loft room.
That's right.
It was the baseboards. But you had all the doors painted black as well.
Right. And I must have been finishing up because I didn't have the drop cloths around or anything anymore. But I obviously had left the paint out. I don't know what I was thinking there, but I had gone downstairs to do something. And
I think what had happened
around,
is because I remember I was out of town. I just remember the picture. And I think that you had just put the paint there because you were going to get it taken care of.
Yes.
And putting it away.
And I had all of the stuff, like I had the hammer to close the lid and I had everything kind of right there. And out comes Chance with the hammer in his hand. And I'm like, what are you doing with the hammer? And he goes, I opened the paint. And I thought, you opened the paint? And I thought, oh dear. I go upstairs. He had opened the paint. There was a half a gallon of that paint. Black paint, you guys, black. And he had dumped it in the carpet, right in the center of the room.
He'd spilled the entire thing.
I don't think he did it on purpose. I think he was trying to open it. And as he opened it, it tipped over and came out. So there was probably a 3-foot, but it wasn't just that. It wasn't a little bit of paint. Like I went and got a spoon and was scooping it up because I'm like, I don't even know. Like I sat on the couch for a minute and just looked at it and thought, I don't even know how to clean this up. Like, what do I do? So I grabbed a spoon and started scooping it in and the carpet is matting down.
So the situation's tense. You've got a whole half gallon of black paint that's all over the floor. You've got a little boy that's pretty proud of himself for opening the paint.
I help you, Mom.
What did you do? So how do you
to my credit, at this point I had come further along in my mothering years.
This is child number 7. So you had
I sat down for a second and I thought, well, I better get a picture. So we sat and took pictures and talked and I recorded him. I'm like, Chance, what were you doing? And he told me all about how he was using the hammer to open the paint just like I had and he was going to help me. And
I used the paint.
I used the paint. I help you, Mom.
So you filmed him do this entire thing and
talk about while there's a huge pile of black paint that looks like tar.
Yeah. Oh, I can't believe the music's there.
I know.
That's a great story to end on. Well, the thing I think that we are communicating is have a little bit of humor, have some levity, be grateful for your family through humor.
Set some streaks around it. Smile more, laugh more.
Absolutely. And if we don't talk to you again, actually we will. We'll talk to you a couple of times. Have a great Thanksgiving or be grateful. If you want to reach out to us, please do at Jeffrey@streakingmastery.com or
Jamie@streakingmastery.com.
Until we talk again, keep streaking.
It's the small and simple things that make the life we live worth living. Among the rush, do one push up, become a better you. It's the small and simple things that make you grow into what you're hoping. You're in a hurry, don't even worry. It's too simple not to do. It's the little things that make a better you. A better you.